Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news, and no sooner have we secured the signing officially of Donny van de Beek and the mind wanders to what's next for Manchester United in this transfer news window. We've got some big news coming in on Jadon Sancho, Upamecano, Thiago, other targets, lots to get through this evening. Put a smile on your face. We've got Donny van de Beek and I think we're going to get more, and I think it's going to be very exciting in relation to what we do get over the next few weeks. But look, that's a good point. The Premier League is back. Premier League's back a week on Saturday. For us, it's back 2 weeks on Saturday. So effectively, 2.5 weeks. Donny van de Beek can play for Manchester United against Crystal Palace. I'm not too sure what would happen with any other signing now, whether they would be able to play against Palace for that first game. So when we get Sancho, he's probably still not going to be able to play for United in that first game. However, look, there is an update. It's coming from Sky, and basically what they're saying is that for the first time in ages, there seems to be movement around the Jadon Sancho transfer with regards to agent fees and wages before an official bid goes into Borussia Dortmund. Now, this is very interesting. It's very, very interesting indeed, because the Manchester Evening News actually said this afternoon, and I actually quote tweeted it. I saw it on a Twitter account that Manchester Evening News, I think he's the football chief editor actually, certainly Manchester United's closest link, Samuel Luckhurst, was saying that Manchester United it's not as advanced with basically there's an issue around the wages. And I quote tweeted it and said, believing Luckhurst over Romano, think I'll stick with Romano, because obviously we've had Romano on the show a couple of times, and Fabrizio has always said that personal terms are not a problem. Whether they're agreed, I suspect that personal terms with Sancho are agreed. And Romano has certainly always said it's not a problem. He said that for a very long time. So it's interesting as to why, and I'm not saying Manchester Evening News and I'm not saying Sky here, this seems to be coming from Manchester United Football Club, that there is an issue with the wages and the agent fees for Jadon Sancho. And it's very odd, because you've got the British press saying one thing, and then you've got people that we trust, like Fabrizio Romano, saying another. So why would this be the case? Why is this happening around Sancho? Well, first of all, I think that the main thing is that, look, Manchester Evening News, BBC, Simon Stone, loads of credible people, Fabrizio Romano, everybody agrees that Manchester United's priority signing this summer is Jadon Sancho. Everybody agrees that Jadon Sancho wants to come to Manchester United. And I think pretty much if you got everyone to sit down like me, you'd say I'm 90% sure Jadon Sancho is going to be a Man United player. So they're all big ticks in the box. That's the main thing here. I think everybody agrees that Sancho wants to come and we want Sancho. So that's the main thing. So what's actually going on? Mark, if we get Sancho from Germany, he wouldn't have to quarantine and could play because Germany is on exempt list, says Tony Bain. Thank you for that update, Tony. And welcome to the Members Club, Winbury and Matt Ike, latest members of the United STEM Members Club. And a couple of super chats coming in as well. We've got, why don't United do a double deal? Sancho plus Axel, Dan Axel, pay full Sancho fee, Dortmund win, discount off Dan Axel, United win, both clubs walk away satisfied, says Dion Doherty. Welcome to Adam and latest member of the United Stand Members Club. Sean Turner, I know we've just signed Donny, but a good Matic replacement is going to Everton cheap in Decore. Smalling looks like he's going centre back incoming. And Vicky Kumar, hi Mark, I'm delighted with Van der Beek and a few beers down, looking forward to a good show. Sancho in. And Adrian says, Mark, I've bought a 4K UHD TV and your face is so crisp, it's written W all over it. Love your channel, hope we get Sancho. And hey Mark, very happy about the Donny signing, but don't you feel that we have the centre potential midfield issue to address? We're banking heavily on Matic having a good season. If he doesn't and Fred leaves, it's a problem. So Shavin, I don't think that Fred is going to leave. I don't think he's going to leave, because we'll be talking about Thiago in a moment. But let me just finish up on this Sancho thing. And yes, Chris Smalling looks like he's going to Roma. DiMarzio's tweeted about it. Fabrizio Romano's tweeted about it. Smalling back to Roma. Maybe 15 million quid there. 8 million for Romero to Aston Villa. Well, that's 22 million. That's 23 million. That's over half the fee we've paid for Van der Beek. That's probably the gap we don't want to pay in wages or whatever to Sancho. So money's trickling in for United as well, which is good. But let me just finish up on this Sancho thing. Why do you think, Mark, who and when do you think we'll move on the deadwood, says Mojo? Well, I've just answered that. There's a couple of players going straight away, Romero and Smalling. I think there'll be more to follow. But why do you think the British press is talking about Sancho's wages being a problem? And why do you think Romano is saying the wages are not a problem? Now, my theory on this is that Manchester United are trying to find a way that's amicable for everybody to pause this deal, to slow it down. And I think the only way they can do that is by mentioning the wages. Because if Man United said there's no problem with the wages, then everyone would be like, why don't you just pay Dortmund the money? And I think United have paused this deal because, one, they want to get other deals done, but two, they probably want to raise a little bit of money first as well. And now that we've got Van der Beek done, and now that we're getting a couple of players out the door, I think that those funds and the timing is right for Jadon Sancho. Because if you think of it like this, I don't understand why Manchester United would be putting out there that it goes into the press that we've got issues with the wages and the agent fees for Jadon Sancho. Because that might rile Jadon Sancho, who could very easily say, I'm happy in Dortmund, I'm going to stay. Why would Jadon Sancho and his agent be sat there going, we really want to go to Manchester United, but isn't it odd how they're putting stuff out into the press that we're being greedy? So I think this has to be a story, in my mind, that's been concocted between the club, the agent, the player, and maybe even Dortmund to buy a bit of time. Let's say the issue is sorting out between Sancho and United, because then it's not a conflict between United and Dortmund. And if it's between the player and the club, it just took a bit of time to work things out. But then Romano's saying that that's not a problem. So for me, it just feels like we're biding our time, and that I think we're biding our time to sell a few players, to get a couple of players in maybe before. So look, that's my theory on it, because actually it doesn't make any sense why you've got credible people saying that the personal terms aren't a problem, and then, you know, credible people in England saying personal terms are a problem. So I just think this deal's going to happen. I can't wait until Sancho signs for Manchester United, because there's so many people. You better start deleting your tweets, because I remember what you said 2 or 3 weeks ago, trying to take the piss out of us. I'm ready. I've always been confident about this deal. There's loads of people in the live comments now who maybe still aren't confident about this deal, who keep saying, why are you so confident? And the one thing that will ring through when Jadon Sancho signs is that we've been saying this from the very end of July, that this will happen. In fact, I think we were saying it in June. But very confident that this deal will still happen for Jadon Sancho. Welcome to the Members Club, Abhishek Sharma, latest member of the United Stand Members Club. Thank you for joining and supporting the channel. Remember, all your content's free on YouTube, so if you want to support us, become a member. You get your badge next to your name. Really appreciate that. Love the videos. Keep the good work up. Do you think we could get Van der Sar as sporting director, says LF11. I think many people would have liked him to be the sporting director. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. Thanks for the sticker from Renate. Unheard Gull says, in October I said sign Van der Beek during an Ajax watch along of us. Is that what Ollie means when said United could exploit the market? Maybe, because I do think Real Madrid would have got him if it wasn't for coronavirus. Watched All or Nothing on Amazon of Man City and saw how quick the City board reacts to a lack of depth in the transfer market. I remember a time when United used to jump in the transfer market if there was a clear lack of quality, says Winbury. And if we get Sancho and Van der Beek, I'll be more than happy. Centre back I'm not worried about. I think Mengi will break through this season. Feels like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer backs him, says Rohit. Well, it is interesting, isn't it? Who do you think is going to be the next signing for Manchester United? Because that's the title of the show, Solskjaer's next transfer. And I think this is something I've been wanting to update. Why the obsession with Sancho, says Glenn? Because he's one of the best young players in the world and he'll make us better. It's like saying to City fans, why is the obsession with Messi? Or why is the obsession with Thiago from Liverpool fans? Or why Arsenal fans are obsessed about any signing? Because it's exciting and you want to bring quality to your team. Starting keeper versus Palace, says Ben Sayers. For me, it would be De Gea. And also, Van der Beek has already stole my heart with the number 34 short. Let's all wish Abelek Nouri wakes up soon to see what his friend achieved with Man United honouring him. Respect to Dean for allowing this true, says Sheikh. Yeah, so number 34 is Van der Beek's number, which is the number of Nouri, who is a young player who played with Van der Beek, who collapsed and went into a coma. So this is a tribute to him, and Dean Henderson's let him have that shirt, which is fantastic. I don't know what the update is with Nouri. I was reading about this the other week. I think he is awake and I think he can communicate, but he's got severe brain damage from the way that he was treated when he collapsed, and obviously lack of oxygen. So sad story, and nice that Donny and many other Ajax players and staff do keep Nouri in mind. Van der Beek has already, we've done that one. And buzzing with Donny, the fact that Bruno and Donny cost the equivalent of Havertz or Grealish, quality business, as MP. And Mark, how do you feel about people who say we could play as a diamond to accommodate Beek? I just hate the idea of losing width. I don't think we will play a diamond. I think the whole point of bringing these players in is to strengthen the bench. If you play a diamond and you play Van der Beek, Pogba and Bruno, and one of them gets injured or plays badly, who are you going to bring on? You're going to stop playing a diamond, because otherwise you're going to have to put Mata or Pereira into the diamond. The whole point is to have quality in the bench. Maybe United looking for an excuse to leave Sancho deal and trying to get fans' reaction by leaking this story to the British press, says Tim. I mean, that's interesting. If you leak out that United can't get the deal because Sancho's wages, you could look at it that they're trying to turn people against Sancho. But is it working? Are you sat there thinking, I don't want Jadon Sancho because of his wage demands? I'm not. We pay 350k a week to David De Gea. We pay 150 grand a week to Juan Mata. We pay 130 grand a week to Dean Henderson. I think we can afford 250 grand a week for Jadon Sancho, which is apparently what he wants. So I don't think United are putting it out there about wage problems to try and scupper the deal and make people turn against the deal. They can't do that. As I said a month ago, there is no way for United to walk away from this deal without taking a huge L, and they don't want to do that. So there was a bit of movement on the Sancho deal. When do you think it will happen, says Jerome T. Green. I think Sancho's going to escalate after the international break. And welcome to LF11, latest member of the United Stand Members Club. Right, let's have a tour de force of where we are in the transfer window at the moment then, and as let's discuss Solskjaer's next transfer window. Can you make these videos into a podcast on Spotify? Would love to listen to the content while driving, says United Ali or not. That's not a bad idea, actually. We could do that. So basically, the situation is this. Mark, was the story about the Ortega family buying the club a bunch of bullshit? Do you think there was some truth to it? I mean, Chandler, that was tweeted off an account that is in Spanish and is basically tweeting horrible stuff about Ricky, about me, about Flex, about every other fan channel. Just because they set something up in Spanish, people fell for that. That's why I never mentioned it, because it's a load of bollocks. Anyway, let me get into some stuff before people start firing any more super chats in. Appreciate it, but we need to get through some stuff. Right, who is going to be Manchester United's next transfer? So at the moment, Smalling looks like he's going out. Romero looks like they're going out. Van der Beek is now official. Sancho will happen, but I'm not sure it's going to happen for another couple of weeks. So who are we looking at now? Well, Upamecano is done. It's not a done deal, don't get excited. Upamecano to Manchester United is a non-starter. Now, I think this started off with ESPN on Monday, and I think the Mail and the Times picked up on it. And I said at the time, nothing against those outlets, but none of those outlets are outlets that make me go, we're in for Upamecano. A lot of people did. A lot of people did. Some of you did. I've got no problem with that. After the buzz of Van der Beek and how quick it was, I get that. But I said on Monday, and I took a few pelters, I said it doesn't look right to me. He's just signed a new contract. He is, and he's right-footed, and it just doesn't feel like the sort of deal that United would look to do at the price we'd have to pay. People were like, no, it's going to happen. I've heard it's going to happen. I even had people telling me who've given me information before, oh, it's looking good. And I said, I just don't believe it. We've had Christian Falk, Fabrizio Romano, James Cooper. All three very good around Manchester United. This is not happening this summer. So forget Upamecano, forget about it. Thiago is interesting because there is talk of Manchester United being in for Thiago, and we've spoken about it a bit. Christian Falk has mentioned it. Bayern are inviting Manchester United to bid. But Manchester Evening News said it today, and a couple of others have said it as well. Thiago is not a priority signing for Manchester United. Other positions are. So it doesn't feel like Thiago is going to happen for Manchester United, as much as it might have done 24 hours, 48 hours ago. Which is a shame, because I think that there was a bit of momentum there. I think there was a little bit of momentum that we could nick Thiago for 25 million. We could maybe send Fred off to Turkey or to Italy and recoup that money. It's a very good replacement. Fred goes out, Thiago comes in. Maybe you weren't thinking of doing that, but you've now got a better player than you did have. So it makes sense to do it. But it's looking very, very likely that he's going to go to Liverpool. So I think we can forget about any hopes for Thiago unless there's a big twist in the tail on that one. So where does that leave us then? We've got Van der Beek. I think Sancho's going to happen. So what else is there? Well, left-sided centre-back is still an area for Manchester United. But who? If it's not Upamecano, Koulibaly, Man City are in for Koulibaly. Italian press is putting out, all be careful of United. I can't see United going in for doing this deal. Koulibaly's 29. They're going to want 60, 70 million quid. We're not in that range for what we're looking at. It doesn't fit the sort of profile that we're looking at. So I think there's two players that jump out at me. Badiashile at Monaco and Torres at Villarreal. Those two players. But what I would say is Manchester United have got to move centre-backs on first. Well, Smalling's going to go to Roma. Can we remove Rojo? Can we remove Phil Jones? And then we may bring a centre-back in. So to me, I feel that United are going to move again at the weekend. I think something's going to happen at the weekend again, like it did with Van der Beek, and I think that deal will then be official this time next week, which means the week after will be about Sancho. That's what I feel is going to happen. I think this week was all about Van der Beek. I think at the back end of this week it will be about a centre-back, and then the back end of next week it will be about Sancho, ready for the game against Crystal Palace. That's what I think is going to happen. So the next signing for United, I think, is going to be a centre-back. But we might not have a centre-back. We could well end up in the situation somebody was talking about there, where it's just Van der Beek and it's just Sancho. Which, as I said today, and I don't know what you think, if City get Messi and Torres and Ake, and Liverpool get Thiago, and Chelsea get Havertz, Ziyech, Werner and everybody else, and we get Van der Beek and Sancho, there is no doubting that everybody's improved. I think Messi puts City closer to Liverpool. I think Chelsea's transfer business and our transfer business takes us away from the teams that are in 5th and 6th and puts us closer to Man City and Liverpool. But I don't see either Chelsea or United being close enough to challenge for a title. So progression, yes. I don't see Chelsea and United challenging Liverpool and City, though, if Liverpool get Thiago and City get Messi. But it is progress. Welcome to the Members Club, Get Beamed 141. And hey, Mark, would you like to take Warab Holding for free? Says Dave. No thanks. Do you want Jones? After signing Sancho and a centre-back, we need to look for loan options for left-back. Your view on getting Reguilon or Jamal Lewis on loan for left-back? Says Vigier. They won't loan us. Can you give a shout-out to my little brother Mark? His name's Caden. He loves your content and values the information you give. My name's Kian. Shout out to Caden from Kian. Thank you very much. I'm glad you're enjoying the show. Love the video. So happy we got Van der Beek. Can't wait to get Sancho. Keep up the good work, says Lee Wilford. And welcome to the Members Club, Rob E. Doyle. Let me just make sure that I'm covering all this up. And yeah, we've done that there as well. Okay. I mean, it's going to be interesting. Somebody just said about Jesse Lingard there. Jesse Lingard, Andreas Pereira, and maybe even Juan Mata. I think we are going to see players going out towards the end of the month. I'd love to have Jones, says Dave Jr. Phil Jones, there's talk of David Moyes being interested in Phil Jones. And there's talk of David Moyes being interested in Jesse Lingard. So, I don't know. Look, at this moment in time, Donny van der Beek is official and he is a Manchester United player. I think Jadon Sancho will definitely happen. Other than that, I wouldn't want to say we're definitely going to get a centre-back. I wouldn't want to say we're definitely going to get anybody else. But one player that I do think is going to happen, whether you like it or not, and I'm not going to be apologetic about what I'm about to say here, Josh King is basically begging to come to Manchester United. And I don't think begging is a very good look. I don't think it is. And I don't think Manchester United should be buying players who are begging to come to our club. But Josh King is quoted as saying, he hoped it was going to happen in January. It didn't happen. And it would be amazing if it happened now. He needs a move from Bournemouth. I don't have any problem with him talking about a move. I think Bournemouth would like to sell him as well. So he's going to move Josh King. Josh King's agent has got a very good relationship with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's agent as well, or something around that. Obviously, he's Norwegian as well. I think Manchester United really do want to sign Josh King. Not all our business is going to be good business. It isn't. If you buy 5 players, you can guarantee 1 or 2 of them will flop. I don't think Josh King's a good signing. I'm totally... if Josh King's watching, I'm really sorry. It's nothing personal. It's just opinion. And at the end of the day, on a fan channel, you're going to get opinion. Otherwise, it's not fan channel. We may as well just watch Sky. The reality is, I don't rate Josh King. He's late 20s. He's had a couple of injuries. But beyond his age and beyond his injury record... Do Man City want Josh King for the bench? Do Liverpool want Josh King for the bench? Do Chelsea want Josh King for the bench? No. Do Spurs or Arsenal? Maybe, but that's not where we're going. We want to go with Chelsea, Liverpool and City. So I don't get this signing. And I've seen people today, and look, I respect people's opinions, and if you want him, that's fine. This is only my opinion. There'll be a lot of people very happy with Josh King. But I've heard justification being, well, he's better than Ighalo. Is that now what we're looking for as a backup striker? Oh, we'd be happy to sit on the bench. I'm sure he would. He'd be beaming from ear to ear. He looks bloody... He's basically begging to come to the club. That's not what we need. We need quality. And you don't just buy a player because he's happy to sit on the bench. I don't see what Josh King... And considering you might have to pay 30 million quid for him, We've just paid 35 million for a 23-year-old who is one of the better young midfielders in the world coming through. Why would we spend 30 million on Josh King? I really hope we don't sign him. I don't agree with it. You know, Timo Werner was for 50 million and we wouldn't do that, but we'll sign Josh King for 30 million. For me, it's just about quality. I think if you're trying to close a gap on a team, you don't go buying players like that. But I do think there's a very high likelihood that it will happen. So let's see. It's my birthday for my best friend Jules. Please give a shout out to her. Happy birthday, Jules, says Shiraj. Thanks for the super chat and happy birthday, Jules. David Clayton, thanks for the super chat. After Bale's comments today, can you see United going for him now that the Sancho deal is off? How would you feel about that? The Sancho deal's not off. We're not buying Gareth Bale, J. David. I can see 100% see us signing King, been saying it for ages, and I can also see us going for Issa Diop from West Ham if Moyes wants some of our players, says Sean Turner. Hi Mark, curious, but do you see Joel Pereira becoming second choice keeper in the future in that event, the event Henderson does become first choice someday, says Afig? I think we're trying with Joel Pereira. I mean, he's on loan again, isn't he, at Swindon, I think now. So, but you know, he's not really had a successful loan yet, has he? Nori woke up after 32 months. He can't communicate. He can only raise his eyebrows, but it takes a lot of his energy. He approved Van der Beek to United, says God Henke. Well, that's fantastic to hear. And Mark, Van der Beek received most penalties in the Eredivisie. Sancho received most penalties in the Bundesliga. Bruno will be happy, says Frederick. And the only thing King is good at now is to hold the ball up. He does not score goals anymore, says Pereira Klassen. I just think United can do better, and I actually think we've got a Garlo till January. Why buy a striker now? I don't think it makes any sense to buy a striker now either. I would prioritise other positions. And at the end of the day, you know what? I'll put this to you then as well. If we're looking to pay 20 to 30 million on Josh King, would it not be better to get in the race for Thiago? You know. VJ, who is a member, says, what is happening with Jesse Lingard? I don't know. I don't know what's happening with Jesse Lingard. I think that... I think it's a very interesting time for Juan Mata, Andres Pereira and Jesse Lingard. I put all three of them into the same category. I don't discriminate against any of them. I think all three would admit they're not doing what they can do in a United shirt. I don't think we'll sell all three. I think two of them should go and one of them should stay. And I think it's very difficult to say who should stay. I mean, to be honest with you, I probably lean towards Lingard staying because I think he offers more than Pereira and more than Mata for different reasons. I think Mata's too old now. And I think Pereira's never shown his ability. And I think Jesse being, you know, part of the club, I think he gets what it's all about. And I think if he can get into the right state of mind and get back into some relevant form, he would be a decent option from the bench. The issue with Lingard is I think that is that good enough for him? I think, you know, he could be playing for West Ham. He could be playing for a Southampton. He could be playing for a Roma. And surely at 28, coming up for 28, you want to play first team football. So Lingard might force a move himself, and I think if he asked to leave, United wouldn't step in the way because they could probably get 20 to 30 million quid for him. So it just depends what Lingard's ambitions are. If he stays, then I'm happy for him to stay, but I don't see him... I think he'll struggle to get on the bench at times. So, yeah, Lingard might just say, you know what, I want to get back in the England squad. Dele Alli's in it. So, and to do that, he needs to play first team football, which he's not going to get in the first team at United, is he? So, Pereira, look... If you want to have a career, I think you need to move on as well. You're not going to get any first team football. Mata might just hang around because he's on good money and, you know, he likes it here. But I can't see how all three of them can stay. I think at least two of them have got to be looking at their own career. So, you know, I think there will be movement at the end of the season, at the end of this month. I think that there will be players that start, once we get back training and they realise they're not going to be on the bench or anything like that, I think that's when people will start moving. And also I think clubs, towards the end of the transfer window, will start to think, shit, we need to do a bit of business. So I think there will be people going out the door. It's been a bit slow so far, hasn't it? Don't think we're going to buy any players till we sell at least one, says Akshay, and I think we will sell people soon. Please smash a like on the video if you're watching, and subscribe if you're new, bottom right hand corner. I think it's going to be very busy over the next couple of weeks, by the way. I think there's going to be a lot of going on. The Van der Beek deal's done now, and it will be moving on to something else. Josh King scores as much from open play as Lingard, takeaways, penalties, and he's next to nothing, says John Hilmar Edvardsen. Are these all Norwegian people talking about Josh King? Because it's interesting if they are, because obviously he plays for Norway. Don't think we're going to buy any players. We've done that one. And was thinking Pogba with his strength, vision, and passing range could play CDM behind Van der Beek and De Bruyne, says Dino Sacks. There's two things on Pogba, I would say. Three things, actually. One, I don't I think he'll sign a new contract. 2, I've heard people today on TalkSport, which I shouldn't really quote because I really do think they say things for effect. Van der Beek's clearly coming in so that Pogba can go. I mean, do people not understand squad mentality now? You've got to have a squad. And that feeds me into the third point. Why are we trying to shoehorn Van der Beek, Pogba and Bruno all into the same team? It's infuriating because at the end of last season we were saying the bench isn't good enough. We've now bought somebody to provide competition for Pogba and Bruno. One of those 3 goes on the bench, whether it's rested or whatever that, or if one gets injured. We don't need to fit all 3 into the team. The whole point is to have a bench that's got quality on it. We can't just play all our good players. You've got to have quality coming off the bench. And I also don't think Paul Pogba can play the CDM role. It takes way too much discipline. And you don't want to discipline Pogba that much. I think he can play in a holding 2, but a holding 2 of Pogba and Van der Beek doesn't work. So, Matic, Fred, they're going to be very important. To the tune of Baby Give It Up. Na 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 now. Donny Van der Beek, Donny Van der Beek. Na 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 now. Dale, I don't think that will happen on the chant as a crowd chant, but I did it for you. Mark, I loved your Donny Van der Beek song with Boney M tune. Donny cool. Donny cool. There you go, you decide. Ajmal Cosman, thanks for the super chat. And we might as well rinse Ajax. We should get Neres and Tagliafico as well, says Nicholas Bentner. Well, we've got a good relationship with them, haven't we? But I don't think that's what we will be doing in relation to that. Regarding Lingard, with his family issues and looking after brothers, I can't see him leaving and moving them schools can use, says Daryl Bingham. Yeah, you know what? And that is a very relevant point. And if he chooses to do that, that's up to him. But I don't think. And look, if he stays, he stays. But I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to be, look, your chances are limited. And I can't really give you much game time unless you massively improve. And if he decides to do that, he decides to do that. Simple as that. Mark, what do you think about Pogba's new post? And Donny is red. By the way, Bale said he's open to a Premier League return. If Sancho doesn't happen, does a loan for Bale sound cool? Been 4 years since following the United stand, says Darshan Singh. I mean, look, Gareth Bale. Do I want to be doing a video on Gareth Bale? Not really. But, it's very rare that you go through a transfer window and you don't see that. So, yeah. I mean, look, I'm just reading United Muppeteers on Twitter who are very good, and they're saying nothing's changed on the Sancho deal. It's fully agreed and ready to go and has been for some time. However, United officials very recently reassured Sancho that they would follow through and pay for him. I think, we've covered that perfectly because my perception is that United are, without question, looking to stall that deal for whatever reason, whether it's to sell players, get other players in. I think that's what they're doing. United aren't in for Messi. No, we're not. We're not. I'm just making sure we've got nothing coming in here. Manchester United are desperate to bring Jadon Sancho to Old Trafford. The higher-ups at Manchester United don't feel as if a fee structure with Dortmund is an issue, and United could take care of the fee, but Sancho's wage demands and agent fees are the issue. That's from James Cooper. So that's another person going back to what we're saying. This is clearly coming from Manchester United, that Sancho's wages are the issue. And it just doesn't make sense to do that publicly. It doesn't make any sense to put it out there that Jadon Sancho is the issue in the Jadon Sancho deal, because it could end up pissing Jadon Sancho off. And as we know from Fabrizio Romano, the personal terms are not an issue. So for me, I don't think United are doing this to piss Jadon Sancho off. If they are, they can get screwed themselves, because what if Jadon Sancho gets pissed off with United telling lies and goes, you know what, fuck you, I'm going to stay at Dortmund, and then United go, we couldn't get him anyway. United are playing that game, everyone's going to see through it. So I actually think what's happening is this story about wages has been put out there to buy time. And I bet Jadon Sancho knows he's going to United. And I bet United have said, we're putting this out there to buy ourselves a bit of time. So I just think it's stalling to buy time and putting a story out there. But, we'll see. Thoughts on Florentino Luis from Benfica, young and upcoming, could develop well under Matic, says Vish. I mean, look, he might be able to, but let's get real. I don't think there is any. I don't think there's going to be any shock signings for United now. I think we've got Van der Beek. We will get Sancho, and we may get a centre back. And I think that's going to be it, unless we do something crazy around Thiago, which it doesn't look likely. I think that's it for United. I know we always want the whole pie, but I think we're going to get 3 slices of the pie, and I think we would have took that at the start of the window. My brother has autism, and United stand always speak to him after matches. You and your staff are a credit to the badge. From Balbriggan in Dublin. Big shout out to Philip Richardson. Thanks for the super chat there. Kian says, Mark, Kian Prescott back again. Can you please sing Donny van der Beek in the happy birthday tune, and can you shout out Adam Woodward, lifelong United? Sadly, says Kian. Donny van der Beek in the happy birthday tune. Donny van der Beek. No, I can't sing that, Kian. What do you make of Everton getting Decore for 25 million? He was spoke of as a Pogba replacement at one point, would have added depth with Van der Beek, says Lewis. And United need Josh King, could replace Martial when he's having a stinker, like most of the time, says Dave Jr., who is an Arsenal fan. I must always qualify David Jr.'s silly, obsessed messages by the fact that he's an Arsenal fan. This might be me imagining, but did we not do the Sancho agent for hiring with Hazard deal also? Says Aditya. I don't remember on that one. But I do just want to come back on Decore, because a couple of people have mentioned him. Not every player that goes to another club is a player that we go, we should have got him. I've seen it with Gabriel. I've seen it with a couple of other players as well. We should have got him. They've got him. I've always said on this channel, I think Decore at Watford's a decent player, but I would not take him at Man United on a free. I wouldn't. I don't rate him. I don't like his running style. And also, I think when you play in a midfield that gets relegated, it's a little bit different to playing as a striker in a team that gets relegated. Because look, you could be Aubameyang in that Watford team, and if you don't get the service, how are you meant to score the goals? But I think if you are a midfielder, games are won and lost in the midfield. So Decore's played in a team that got relegated. To me, that would be a big concern, because I've seen a few Watford games, and by no means has he bossed the game. The one player I saw get relegated in a midfield, and he spent most of the season actually playing at centre-back, was Roy Keane at Nottingham Forest in the early 90s. And we broke the British world transfer record for him because it was abundantly clear that he was a world-class player in the making. I don't see that with Decore. I don't care about Decore going to Everton. Maybe Ancelotti can turn him into a better player, but I don't think it's one of them signings we should be going, he would have been good for us. I think if you want to spend 25 million on a player that can do the Matic job, you go and get Thiago. Would we sign a striker in January when Igalo leaves, Mark, says Chicharito? We may do. Welcome to the Members Club, Drayson. And Dortmund, Sancho, centre-back, good enough, but we need to sell some of the deadwood, says Vicky. And can you call my brother Matt a prat? I love the channel, says Hayden. Matt, you're a prat. I don't normally do it on demand, but you're a prat. I think United are going to sell players to fund the new signings for midfield and centre-back, says Vish. I just want to make sure I've covered everything. I mean, there was a story I wanted to tell you, actually. Skriniar has been linked to Manchester United. Now, everyone knows I like Skriniar. I've been talking about Skriniar for years. It's a bit like Koulibaly. I like Koulibaly. I'm not excited about Koulibaly or Skriniar coming to Manchester United. Dave says, I'd love to have you on AFTV. But look, I don't know why I did that laugh. Skriniar to Man United from Italian reports. I mean, look, he's not totally settled at Inter, but again, you're talking about a centre-back that's going to go for 50, 60 million quid. United aren't in for Skriniar. Skriniar is a player that Mourinho liked, and I think sometimes the Italian press will link us to a player because we were interested in him before, but we've had a change of manager. Ollie's not looking at Skriniar, and I don't think he's looking at Koulibaly because of the fee. So if anyone's getting excited about that, then no. Upamecano we've discussed. Romero we've discussed. Smalling we've discussed. Sky and their Sancho update we've discussed. So I think, let's play a little game in the live comments. What do you think if Sancho gets hurt in country matches now, says Thomas Malbing? Well, we won't sign him, will we? Brescia president said we made a serious attempt to get Tonali, but he loves Milan. Ollie watched Italian Roy Keane win the quadruple on your career mode, says Gustav. I don't know. I wouldn't trust that United went for Tonali. I'd like to think that we went for Tonali. I'd love us to have got Tonali, but I don't think that we did. And I think we always hear that United were interested for a player that we don't get. So you've got to take it with a pinch of salt. Do I think McTominay will be a key player next year? I think McTominay needs to step up. I think he was dreadful after lockdown, and I don't know why. He was super fit. He had the six-pack, the lot, but he was dreadful, wasn't he? So big season for McTominay, because if he has a season like he ended last season, I think a lot of people will be saying he's not United standard. So he needs to get back to that player that we saw before lockdown very, very quickly, because he's considered a first-team player. He's got a 5-year contract. He's got to be pushing for a first-team place. Sanchez says Pau Torres or Upamecano. We're not getting Upamecano, mate. So yeah, get in the live comments. Who do you think the next signing is going to be? Whilst I have a quick think. You know what? I just feel we're going to get Badiashile from Monaco. I just feel there was enough news around him last week. It was last Wednesday. There was enough credible news around Badiashile last week. It was about Wednesday last week. We obviously then focused on Van der Beek, and I think these next few days are key because United can't sit still. I don't think we're going to be sat. I don't think we're going to have 2 weeks of no activity now. There's going to be things happening. That's the rumour. That's the feeling around the club. Things are going to happen, whether it's ins or out. So I think we're going to see a movement. If we're going to get a centre-back, I think we're going to see movement, and I think it's going to happen quickly. And I think by the weekend, we will see movement, and I think it's going to be Badiashile. I think Sancho's going to happen the week after that. So that's what I think is going to happen. My prediction is Badiashile. If we don't get a centre-back, the next signing is going to be Sancho. Mark, since you mentioned Keno, he still hasn't been replaced at United and probably never will, says Vicky. No, I mean, some players you can't replace. I think we did a bad job at replacing Ronaldo. What did we get? Valencia and Michael Owen. I think you can try and replace a player and you can bring players in, but we never replaced Roy Keane. I think Carrick, to a certain extent, was a very, very good player. And Scholes was still very good, but you don't replace Roy Keane. It's going to be Badiashile, definitely. Monaco seeking a bid of about 32 million, says Mojo. And I think United will sign David Brooks or Josh King next. Can see them both starting, says Dave. And Benfica in turmoil. Ruben Diaz could be affordable, says Daniel. I'm very surprised we've not been linked to Ruben Diaz, but he's another player that was a Mourinho target. So, again, are we just going for, historic players that we've been linked to in the past? I don't know. It's interesting where is Badiashile good enough, says Hayder. Look, I don't know. Is Gabriel good enough? I think if the thing that would excite me about signing Badiashile from Monaco is that, it would be a well-scouted deal because I don't know loads about him. All I know is he's 19, he's very fast, he's left-footed, and he's considered one of the best up-and-coming centre-backs in world football. That sounds very exciting to me, and you've got to trust in your scouts, haven't you? Which is what we want to do. I mean, that's the brilliance of the Van der Beek deal. We could have got Grealish or Maddison for double the money, and we've gone and got Van der Beek, who I think is a better player, and trusted our foreign scouting. So, Mark, now would be a great time to bring back the Hotometer, says Kumar. Maybe we can bring back the Hotometer for tomorrow morning's transfer show. And Kian says, can I have a shout out? Yes, you can, just because I saw it. And I don't want David Brooks. What do I think the structure of the Jadon Sancho deal is going to be? I actually think the Jadon Sancho deal could have been done a month ago. I think it could have been done on August the 4th. I think Romano felt it was going to be done around then because of what he was tweeting, and his tweets are still there. They're not been deleted. I think Manchester United, and I've said this so many times, that Manchester United deal for Jadon Sancho is so touch you can almost close it. So close you could almost touch it. And what I mean by that is, it's just that. All they've got to do is click their fingers. They've just got to pay the deal that Dortmund want, which is openly known, and Sancho wants to come. But United have stalled for some reason. And they've probably stalled for their own benefit in one way or another, whether it's new players or selling players first, or balancing the books. But it will happen. And I would predict that United will sign Sancho for about 80 to 90 million pounds as a down payment, and then there'll be more paid next year. That's what I think will happen. It's a structured deal. I don't think there'll be add-ons in it. I said back in April I thought 85 million was a fair fee, but I think Dortmund want 108 million, and they will get 108 million, and it will be structured. And that's what will happen. I've always been confident. Mark, who's had the better transfer window, Spurs or United to Skindle? Well, Spurs have bought 2 players at the moment. I think they'll be good players for them, but I think United will have a better window. Lars Jensen, latest member of the United Stand Members Club. Thank you very much. Which player were you unhappy with when we'd signed but eventually changed your opinion? Says Darshan. I'm trying to think of a player that we bought that I didn't really want us to get that ultimately I thought... I think Matic to a certain extent. I really didn't want Matic. I really didn't want him. But I think at times he's been a good signing. Romano said personal terms agreed, i.e. Sancho fees. Cooper has said agent fees was the issue, which is also sorted. Sancho incoming, says Amit. Don't Monaco want Martial like money though? So it's 50 million plus. Why not just go for Upamecano, says Adam Barath. We're not getting Upamecano. And I think that Monaco will not get 50 million for Badiashile. I won't expect the 50 million if I'm honest with you. Psycho Gecko says, what do you think of Reguilon? Man United also, do you believe we can sign Badiashile? I mean, look, there's talk about the left back from Real Madrid, but I do think we need a left-footed left back to complement Luke Shaw, but I don't think that we'll get him. I really don't. Mark's been consistently confident over the Sancho deal, says Chombella. I have, and I am. What about Ollie Watkins? Very good, quick, young, and would fit our style of play. I'd rather get Ollie Watkins from Brentford than Bournemouth's Josh King. I'd agree with you on that one. Anyway, look, thanks everyone for watching. It's been a very tiring day. The Van der Beek deal was meant to be announced at midday, and we've been waiting all afternoon for it to happen. So it's great that it's done. The club can move on. Let's see who the next signing's going to be. Obviously, we'll be back live around 10:30 if there's any big news. 10:30 in the morning, sorry. We'll be live at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. If anything breaks in between that, we'll go live as well. So please subscribe, bottom right-hand corner, get your notifications on. Thanks for everyone who's become a member tonight and joined the club, get your badge. I really appreciate that. Thanks for all the super chats. Thanks to all the moderators. Thanks to everyone who's getting involved in the live comments as well. Thanks to everyone who's not watching it live. We're living this together, and I think it's going to get very, very, very exciting and busy over the next few days and couple of weeks as well. Sancho on the download. Speak to you all soon.